Hi, I'm Eben Pagan. Welcome to the program, How to Build a Profitable Business Starting from Scratch. I'll be your host for this program, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through a series of mindsets, strategies, tactics, and lessons that I've learned now building several businesses and now selling over $100 million worth of products and services. I've started many businesses. I've tried many different business and product ideas that didn't work. And I kept testing and learning and trying and refining my tactics. And I've gotten to the point where most of the products that I launch and most of the businesses that I launch succeed. And they succeed for the long term. And with most businesses failing, Michael Gerber, the author of the E-Myth, says that about 80% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. 80% of those that survive fail in the next 5 years. So something like 19 out of 20 businesses fail in the first 10 years. With those kinds of numbers, having most of my businesses and products succeed is actually quite a feat. And I think it's due to having the right mindsets, having the right strategies, the right tactics, and the right approaches. And in this program, I'm going to walk you through a series of 7 sessions. In each one, we're going to cover a different part of starting and building a profitable business from scratch. So to build a successful, profitable business, you need 7 things. You need the right mindset. You need the right niche. You need the right product, you need the right marketing, you need the right focus, you need the right actions, and you need the right people. And because these are the 7 essentials to building a profitable business starting from scratch, this is going to be the format of the program. And we're going to do 7 sessions. The first one is on how to create the right mindset. The second one is on how to target the right niche. The third session is on how to create the right product, a product that your customers will buy. The fourth session is on how to create the right marketing, how to promote and position your product so that it sells itself. The fifth session is on how to create the right focus and really how to use your time for maximum productivity. The sixth session is on taking the right actions and getting yourself to take action consistently. And the 7th session is attracting the right people, because all great success in life comes through the assistance and the collaboration with other people. So let's get started with session 1, the right mindset. Profit mindset number 1, bootstrapping is better. So we've all heard this term bootstrapping, and in case you don't know exactly what the metaphor means, the saying is to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Okay, and older kind of more traditional boots would have straps on the side, and you could reach down and pull your boot up, pull it on with the straps. And the idea of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps is elevating yourself under your own effort. Okay, because you can't really reach down and pull your bootstraps and lift yourself up. Gravity makes that kind of impossible. But the metaphor is very interesting. Okay, pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps, supporting yourself, doing it yourself. In this particular program, we're going to be learning about bootstrapping a business, okay, building a profitable business starting from scratch. And when I say here that bootstrapping is better, what I mean is that it's better to pull yourself up with your own time, effort, and energy than it is to go and borrow a bunch of money or raise a bunch of money for a new, untested idea. You see, most businesses and most products don't work Most of them fail. And when you're using leverage, when you're borrowing money or you're spending money that's taken you a long time to save, or you're having others invest money, and you're trying an unproven idea, okay, that's a great high probability, very likely scenario for a lot of problems and a lot of disappointment. So bootstrapping is better, meaning it's better to get out there and do it yourself. It's better to bootstrap your business than it is to borrow the money, than it is to spend a lot of money, than it is to take a lot of investment before you have proof of concept. Which leads us to profit mindset number 2. Make it work small, then go big. Now, a lot of times, as we're starting a business, we just think that it can't fail. Okay? And so what we do is we throw everything at it, we throw everything into it, including sometimes all the money we have and all the money we can borrow, and for good measure, some money from our friends and family and anyone else. Well, this is often a recipe for failure just because it takes our focus off of actually making the business work. And the way to know if a business works is to take one of your products and try to sell it to one customer and see if they buy it. And if they do, then sell another one to another customer and refine your strategy. Now, in most cases, when you try to sell your first product to your first prospective customer, it won't work. And you'll have a big aha. Oh, wait a minute, I'm going to have to do something different. So you get to work refining your strategy. You get to work making it a little bit better. You try it again. That doesn't work. You try it again. Then you have an insight. You make it work on a small scale. And then you start to make it work consistently. And at that point, once you've got proof of concept, once you've kind of figured it out, that's when it's time to go big. Profit mindset number 3, and this is more of an affirmation. 80% of what I try won't work. Now, you might say, how is this a profit mindset or an affirmation? Eben, that sounds like a bummer. And it's probably higher than 80%, but 80% is a great rule of thumb. Okay, so I like to kind of say that I'm an optimist. Okay, so Eben, okay, now you're really confusing me. You say you're an optimist and you want me to use the affirmation, 80% of what I try won't work. But I'm a particular type of optimist. I'm an optimist in the long term. I know that if I keep applying my mind, my effort, my expertise, my imagination, and I keep growing myself over the long term, and I keep persisting, okay, keep trying to figure it out, keep taking what I've learned, accumulating it, mixing it around in new ways, building on what I've learned so far, I know that over the long term, I will have increasing success. So I'm an optimist in the long term. But I'm a huge pessimist in the short term, meaning I think that most things that I try aren't going to work out the way that I want them to. Okay, so I'm an extreme pessimist in the short term, meaning I think 9 out of 10 things that I try aren't going to work. They're not going to go the way I wanted them to. But in the long term, if I keep trying, I'll be able to accumulate winning insights, winning formulas, winning strategies, and I will crack the code on some very, very important systems, businesses, products, markets, niches, customer segments, and a few of those will be big, big wins. Turns out that most stock investors that are winners, okay, it turns out most stock investors are not winners, but most of the ones that are winners make their money on a few of their trades. So if they make 100 stock trades that year, they'll make most of their profit on, 5 or 7 of them. In fact, they'll lose money on many and sometimes on most of them. Same thing goes for poker. You'll make most of your winnings on a few hands because most of them won't work out. You'll actually lose most of the hands you play. Now this goes counter to what what I call the human chimpanzee that lives inside of you wants to think or wants to do. We come naturally wired for instant gratification, to live in an instant gratification world. We're not wired intuitively to think long term. Okay, when we smell the smell of some very savory, salty, fatty, yummy food, what we don't do intuitively is say, okay, let me imagine how I'm going to feel 30 minutes, 60 minutes, an hour, 2 hours after eating this. Let me check in. Is that the energy level and the focus that I want? Let me jump out 20 years ahead. Let me tune into the health effects that this is going to have on my body, because I intend to wake up then and I'd really like to be in good shape. Okay, let me do the math. That's not what we do. Okay, what we do is we imagine the thing that we want and then we go and we try to get it. We are as biased toward instant gratification as we can be, essentially. Okay, we're very close to the instant gratification level of a chimpanzee. Thinking long term is something that we have to learn how to do. So when you approach each of your tests and each of your business ideas with the mindset that 80% of what I try won't work, it makes you more realistic, and it also does something that's very, very important. It gives you permission to abandon things that don't work and get on to the next thing. You abandon things that don't work and get on to the next thing. Now, I'm not saying to give up. I'm just saying give up that particular approach and go try something else. Profit mindset number 4. My business isn't a job. One of the most debilitating mindsets that I see that I think really causes a lot of failure when it comes to starting new businesses is approaching a business as if it's a job. Approaching a business as if it's a job. And this would be kind of like, approaching being a parent the same way that you approached being a child. There's something about it that seems like, okay, well, I guess that could kind of make sense when you don't look at it, but it's not going to work. Okay? It's going to have lots and lots of problems. So yes, when you had jobs in your life, you worked inside of a business. And yes, it's easy to think that you understand business. It's easy to think that you get it because you had a job. But owning and running a business and building a business, and particularly building a profitable business, one that makes more money than it spends, this is not like having a job. It's a different paradigm of responsibility. And it requires a different mindset. Okay? So when you're coming into work, your mindset is, I do my work and I get a paycheck. When you're coming into a business, it's not about doing work anymore. It's about creating value and getting results. So you have to realize my business isn't a job. So don't expect the same environment, don't expect the same results, don't expect it to work the same way. Which leads to profit mindset number 5. I get paid in proportion to the value I create for other people. I get paid in proportion to the value I create for other people. Now, we're going to be learning to do this in a business context. And when you have your own business, what you are typically offering is products and services. Now, we can lump them all into this term called a product. And I can ask you the question, what is your product? And you might say, well, my product is I show up and I fix people's computers. Okay? Maybe you offer a service. Or my product is I sell the computer. Well, we're going to learn that that's not exactly true either. But your value to others is in this product or service that they're getting. And the way that you get paid is in proportion to the value that your product or service has to other people. It's not in proportion to the work that you do or the effort that you put in. Okay? There is some connection between working hard and putting in a lot of effort and being successful in business. But now it's a different game. It's not like in a job where you do your 8 hours of work every day for a month and you get your monthly paycheck. Okay, this is, you can work 24 hours a day for 30 days in a month and make no money if you do not create value for your customers. So that's your new gas gauge to tell you how much fuel you have in the tank. Okay, that's your new efficiency gauge to show you if you're getting good mileage. The value you create for other people is now going to be the driver of your income. Not about work, it's about value, results, and outcomes that you create for others. Profit mindset number 6. I'm cracking the code, not just trying to make money. Now, one of the things that I think we need to do as humans, we need to learn to do habitually, meaning we have to learn about it, we have to understand it, we have to experience it, and we have to practice it, is the idea that anything that our human chimpanzee, the inner human chimp, is driving us to do in the short term, anything that it's compelling us to do in the short term, is probably not good for the long term in the biggest sense. Okay, so whatever it's trying to make us do right now, and we're feeling a compulsive drive to do it, an overwhelming drive that we can't control, it's probably not good for us in the long term. Obviously, if you've been walking across the desert for 2 weeks and you haven't had anything to drink and you feel compelled to drink some water, okay, you know what, that one's probably good for you long term. But most of the things that we experience in the modern day that we feel compelled to do, like eating junk food, watching the news, checking our email, calling someone up and gossiping, all this stuff that just is kind of like instant gratification for the human chimp, that stuff's usually not good for us. So what we have to do is we have to steal that time, effort, energy, those mental processing cycles. We have to steal them back, and we have to put them into things that are better in the long term. And the mindset here is that we're not trying to make money. Focusing on making money in business, okay, is not going to actually get you money in the long term. It's a very short-term thing. Now, this is kind of shocking for most people to hear this because, they're saying, well, wait a minute. That's the only reason why I want to start a business is to make money. I need money. If I don't get some money right now, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills, and it's going to be kind of game over. So, what are you talking about, Evan? Well, what I'm talking about is that the longer time horizon that you can think in, and the more you can put in effort now that's going to make a difference further out, a few hours out, a few days out, a few weeks out, a few months out, a few years out, a few decades out, the more you can build this capacity to do now to build a better future, the more money you're going to actually make. Now, there's a paradox here. Okay, there's a paradox where if you need money now, you're like, well, I don't need money in 5 years. I need the money now. But what I'm suggesting is that if you don't go to work on the 5-year and the 10-year and the 20-year income, you're going to get there and you're going to be in worse shape than you are now. And so enduring a little short-term pain to set up a much better future, okay, that is a game that I will play all day long. And in fact, the more I learn about this, the more I realize that the real game in life is building a better future. Because, you know what, I intend to live the rest of my life in the future. And all those moments of now that I'll be experiencing, because I'll be going through every one of those moments as a now, it'll be a great continuation, I want them to get better and better and better, not worse and worse and worse. So when you focus right now on all the things that will get you instant gratification, you actually make the future worse. When you focus the moments now on delaying gratification and doing what will set you up for success in the future, that's the mental strategy that has you wake up then in better shape, and you'll be in the now, and you'll be really glad you did it. So in business, what we're trying to do is we're trying to crack the code. And when I say crack the code, what I mean is we're trying to figure out what it is that our customers want, build the product that they want to buy or create the service they want to buy, market it, sell it to them in a way that makes it very attractive to them, and then build a system that does this. Then invest our time, effort, and energy building the system and making the system better and better and better and tuning the engine, and then ultimately creating an asset that throws off profit, that grows, and that has a value in and of itself, that actually becomes a piece of our wealth portfolio. That's the game of cracking the code. When we go out and we just try to sell one more product, or we try to make a little bit more money, or we try to build our business a little bit, okay, we're not cracking the code. What we're doing is we're trying to make money. When we take the mindset, once I crack the code, and I get an advantage here because I have a niche market, a group of potential prospective customers that I understand better than anyone, and I have a product or service that really meets their needs, that they find very valuable, and I figured out how to communicate to them and sell it to them and market it to them in a way that they really get it, they really understand that this is the thing that meets their needs, and I've built a machine that does this, and now I'm building the machine so it can run independent of me. That's cracking the code, and that's what I hope that you aspire to do with your business. And when you get into business to crack the code and you're trying to figure that out long term, that's what leads to a long-term profitable business, a profitable business that grows and becomes an asset. Profit mindset number 7. Business success comes when I'm doing many things right all at once. Okay? Business success comes when I'm doing many things right all at once. The metaphor that I'd like you to think of is the human body. And I'd like you to think about the concept called health. Okay, what does health mean? Well, health means lack of pain, lack of symptom, lack of sickness, lack of disease. Okay, so that's one implication. But on the flip side of it, health means vitality, energy, feeling that feeling inside of you like you could do anything with your body, feeling like you want to move, like you want to get up and go and do something with your body. Okay, so this is maybe like a rough description of health. Well, how does it affect your health level when one of your major organs starts misfiring or stops functioning correctly? When you get, let's say, blockage in your heart, or when your liver gets all clogged up and it stops working correctly, or, God forbid, you get cancer or a disease in one of your major organs. Okay, how does that affect the body? Well, it's really a massive drain on the body when one of your major organs is affected. So in a way, your major organs are the building blocks of health. And down at a level below your major organs, we have different types of tissue that make up your organs. And down below the different levels of tissue, we have our individual cells. And at each level, there's a group of entities that are working together that create a higher order entity that emerges on top of it. Okay, so you've got a lot of brain cells, a lot of them. And each one of these brain cells, each neuron, let's say, inside of your brain, it's having its own little perfect experience, firing and passing electrical signals through it. But when you put whatever 1 billion of them together, you actually start to get thoughts that emerge. Seems like a really interesting and mysterious process. So just like health emerges when all of your organs are healthy and functioning, and thoughts emerge when all of your neurons are functioning well, business success emerges, this idea called success. It comes when several different things are all going right at once. Okay, it's not just one thing that leads to business success, it's many. And if one of the key components or key pieces of your business isn't functioning well, it will be as debilitating to your business and to your income and your profit as it is if one of your major organs isn't functioning well. Now, it's important to have this mindset and bring it with you as you build a profitable business from scratch, because if you just try one thing, okay, so for instance, you say, okay, I'm going to make this new product, and you make the product and you invest several weeks or months making this product or this service, and then you go out and you try to sell it and no one buys it, and you get discouraged and you say, well, I guess that didn't work. Okay, that can really cost you. If you don't realize that you not only need a good product that meets a customer need, but you also need good marketing, and you also need great people, and you also need to be doing the right things every day and have the right focus, and you also need to be talking to your customers so that you can learn what's going on in their mind and what's valuable to them. Okay, if you don't know all the key pieces that you need to put together, you'll probably only do one or two or three of them. And just like having a body with lungs that don't work or a heart that doesn't work, now you've got a body that doesn't work. If you have a business and all the key components aren't working, the business doesn't work. So you have to remember, you got to get them all going at once. And when they all come online and they're all working at once, it's kind of like, you know, if you have a piece of electronics gear or a computer and it's not functioning and it won't turn on, and then you realize, oh, I don't have it plugged in. And then you plug it in and you press the on button and all of a sudden it comes to life. You think, gosh, look at that, this complex piece of equipment, and if one little thing isn't right, then it doesn't function. That's the way business works. You need to put all the pieces together. And in this program, you're going to learn what those key pieces are and how to do them right. Profit mindset number 8. Revenue isn't the same thing as profit. So I've got a little secret for you here. Most people brag about revenue, not about profit. And in fact, I'm one of them, right? I know that it's much more impressive to say to you, I did $1 million in sales of this new product, than it is to say, I made $200,000 worth of profit from that new product. $1 million sounds a lot more impressive. So what you're going to understand as soon as you start your business is that in order to get $1 in your pocket that you can then go spend on whatever you want, you're probably going to have to earn $10 in sales or in revenue. And here's why that is. Okay? It's because you sell $10 worth of product or service, and then your business costs you probably 5, 6, 7 of those dollars that you have in terms of investments, materials, equipment, advertising, internet hosting, online tools, merchant accounts. Okay, there are a lot of different pieces that take a bite out of that $10. And then after you pay all those things, then you have to take the money out of your business and pay income tax on it. And then there are other little hidden fees and things as you make that transition. And so it's not unusual to have that $10 in sales that you make turn into $1 or $2 that actually winds up in your pocket as spendable money. Right now, this might sound a little discouraging. Okay, you might have thought, well, great, I just need to have a business that does $100,000 a year in sales, and I'm perfect. That'll get me everywhere I want to go. Well, you probably actually, if you want $100,000 in your pocket, you probably need a business that does $500,000 to $1 million in sales. That's the reality. But that's okay because, in my experience, if you do all the things that you're going to learn here, building a business that does $500,000 to $1 million in sales is not outside of the realm of possibility. Obviously, I can't guarantee your success, and I can't say it's absolutely going to work. But I know a lot of people who have built businesses to the $1 million a year level and beyond, starting from scratch, literally from their home or from their bedroom. And most of them got kind of the key pieces that I'm going to teach you here right. In fact, most of them didn't even get all of these pieces right, but they got a few of them, kind of the core pieces around choosing the right niche, making the right product, and doing the right marketing. And if you want to increase your probability of having a highly successful business, then you need to do all the things that you're going to learn about here. Profit mindset number 9. I'm 100% responsible now. And this is a big deal. When we're born, we're not 100% responsible because we don't even know what responsibility is. And as we grow up, our parents kind of take responsibility for the most part, or at least they act like they're in control. And we don't really learn about taking 100% responsibility. In jobs, it doesn't even cross our mind that the owner of the business or the owners of the business are taking all of the responsibility for earning the revenue, for taking the risk, for taking on the huge responsibility of paying payroll, of just handling all of that stuff, of making the $10 in order to get 1 or 2 at the end of the day, and managing that whole process, which can, go the other direction and have you lose $1 or 2 on every $10 you sell. It can go that way easily. We don't appreciate that. We don't understand the responsibility until we get into business. And once we get into business and we go out and spend our first $500 on an advertisement and we get no sales, or we invest a month building the perfect website and then no one visits it, only then does it start dawning on us, oh, there's a lot more to this business thing than I thought. And where I thought, people that employed me in the past were taking advantage of me, wow, they really were doing an amazing service for me and the other people that worked for them. Only when we have that experience do we get it. So I just want to give you a little preview. You're 100% responsible now. Okay? You're not going to have someone show up on a horse and save you. You have to do it. You have to use that smart mind of yours. You have to bring your attention, your consciousness, your focus to this project, and you're the one that's going to have to make it work. No one else is going to do it. And if you try to blame other people, if you run an advertisement and it doesn't work and you try to blame the advertiser, well, that's their fault and they're bad and all those people are crooks. Okay? That's not going to work in this world. You have to take responsibility because you're the one making the decisions. You're responsible now. And then finally, profit mindset number 10. My success comes because I take action. Now, we're going to focus a lot in this program on action and doing stuff. But in business, it's all about taking action. It's not about sitting around and trying to come up with the perfect solution. It's not about trying to make sure that it looks perfect before you do it. It's not about talking to 1 million people and making sure that they approve of what you do. It's about taking a good idea and putting it into action and then seeing what the result is. Learning, real learning, as I've learned from my mentor Wyatt Woodsmall, is about changing your behavior. Most of us think that learning is about ideas and concepts. And while some of that is true, the idea and the concept is part of learning, but it's a part of learning like a neuron is part of a brain. An idea must be mated with or married to or integrated with action and results, and then seeing the action and results, and then changing our behavior, this is when it becomes true learning, because this is when we start to understand. Most of us live in an imaginary mind world where we make up how we think the world works, but we don't go out and we check. We don't go out and say, wait, does it really work that way? Warren Buffett, the most successful investor in history, okay, he's got something like $50–60 billion in net worth. One of the things he points out is that we always think we're right. And what he's constantly doing is saying, you know, I'm probably wrong. How can I check and see if I'm wrong? Well, in the world of business, the way that we check and we see if we're wrong is we go take some action. We test it out. We get out there and see if it works in the real world. And if it doesn't, we move on to the next thing, or we refine it and we try again. Your success is going to come because you take action, not because you push some magic button or you have one magic insight. It's going to be consistent action in the long term. Unfortunately, there are a lot of kind of hucksters out there that teach ideas like you just have to push this magic button online and you will have thousands or tens of thousands or millions of dollars that will be deposited into your bank account. And because there are so many people out there that are desperate and they buy into this, it gives all of us that are teaching business and marketing a bad name. That isn't the way it works. Okay, I don't know anyone who's consistently successful in the long term who isn't taking consistent action. Now, you may have to overcome fear of failure or fear of rejection or what other people would think, hesitation. Okay, that's fine. You need to overcome those things. You may need to get some courses. You need to maybe get some therapy. You know, go to some, you know, kind of self-esteem programs. Do whatever it takes. But you've got to get into consistent action. You must overcome yourself and get yourself to take consistent daily action if you hope to succeed in building a profitable business from scratch. So let's do our first exercise. What's your new mindset? So you should be looking at your exercise, what's your new mindset? Your mindset acts as the context for everything you create in that particular area of your life or business. What is the key mindset shift that will allow you to make the quantum leap and create business success for yourself? So answer this first question. What's the part of your mindset that has held you back from business success? Okay, so based on this session, what's the part of your mindset that's held you back from business success? What was the belief? What was the paradigm? What was the way that you saw the world or the way that you thought about the world that held you back from business success? Next, which mindset shift will create the biggest shift for your future success? Okay, so of the 10 profit mindsets that I shared, which is the one that will make the biggest difference if you really embody it? Next, how can you remind yourself of the mindset shift that you're making so you create the success that you want in business? How can you remind yourself? Can you put a little note on your mirror? Can you send yourself a little reminder pop-up in your calendar? What can you do to remind yourself of the shift that you're making so you create the success that you want in business? Okay, answer these 3 questions, and I will see you in the next session of how to build a profitable business starting from scratch.